Freckles, what do you think? Yeah, you think so too, huh? Yeah. All right, guys. Today we got a date between that receiver and this Machins hitch-mounted cargo carrier with cargo bag. I didn't even know I had a cargo bag. In fact, I get a bunch of other goodies here too. How cool is that? Don't need them, but I got them. So that's what we're going to do, but first the intro. Hey guys, leaving the range and realized I got one more video I got to go through today. I got my trailer hitch, the tongue, where the what do they call it? The part where you put the trailer hitch in, the insert right there, the receiver. That's what it's called. It's a receiver-mounted cargo carrier with a load capacity of 500 pounds, and I'm super excited. I don't know why I didn't buy one of these a long time ago, because the last couple of times I bagged a deer, I was trying to take a 180-pound object, literally a piece of dead weight, and throw it up on the top of my Jeep Grand Cherokee. That was memorable. And the last time I tried to throw it up on top of a Wrangler. It is exhausting, let me tell you. So I looked and said, hey man, I just got surgery. I can't be doing stuff like that. Not this year. What am I going to do? And I saw, driving by, I saw a guy with one of those receivers, with one of those cargo carriers. Just pulled up to an intersection, and I looked and said, that's exactly what I need. Now I only got to lift the deer up, what, 6 inches, get him into that carrier, and I'm rocking. I look out on Amazon, 132 bucks, 140 bucks, 150 bucks, 160 bucks. In other words, super affordable. So I ordered one. Mine just got in the mail, and now I'm going home to try to install it, and you guys get to watch. So I'm hiding this right now because there's a cop at an intersection across from me, and we'll see you when I get home. Step one, we got to take the existing hitch out. And that's just, if you're smart, you grease this up on a regular basis so that it doesn't rust itself inside the receiver, and then you're completely screwed. So it's just pulling this cotter pin out. That's easier. Cotter pin out. Hitch pin out, hitch out. So far so good, thank God. I'm going to need this again, so it's going to stay here. Next, we got to slowly take this thing apart and see what it is that we got to work with. So let me go put this away for the winter up inside storage, and I'll be right back. Okay, let me move this around a little bit. Gotta watch what I lift. All right, that should work. Let's open this up. Using my $4 lockback knife that I got at Harbor Freight Tools. I'm not going to carry this one in. This serration here you actually don't need in the woods. I got another one for $6 on Amazon, a little bit bigger, just a little bit wider. Same shape. This is what you want for field dressing a deer, because you got to get in there and feel up inside, but I'm not going to use this one. So this is going to be my opener. You can tell I'm not right-handed. Got an identical twin brother, Michael, that's right-handed, but I'm left-handed. We're called mirror image twins, believe it or not. Let's get this open. Here's another tip. If you want to control how far in your blade goes, then put your thumb right there, and then when you're cutting in, it can only go that far. So you're guaranteed you're not going to cut into a surface or something like that. So let's see what we got here. Wow, it's nice looking. This is the Mockins, M-O-C-K-I-N-S. The Mockins, what is it? Let's see. Let's put this away since we don't need it anymore. And end up piercing myself. It's inside here. A Mockins receiver mounted cargo carrier. I see a couple of pieces. Just kind of seeing how it comes out. Looks like there's two pieces that go together like this. That's what I'm seeing. I'm gonna try a different technique. We're gonna tip this thing out and upside down, so I don't have to try to lift all this stuff out. Here goes. Better. Now you just got a box I got to try to lift. That's way easier. There. Check my camera angle. Yeah, so far so good. Let's take a peek what we got here. Here's my first piece of advice for you guys. You're about to take something capable of carrying 500 pounds. It already weighs about 60 pounds on its own. You're going to hook it on the back of a moving vehicle, and you're going to go tearing off at 70 miles an hour. RTFM. Read the manual. You might want to make sure you get this right, and don't take anything for granted that you're about to put a couple of 100 pounds on the back of your Jeep and start flying down the road at 70 miles an hour, which means if you did something wrong, you got several 100 pounds moving at 70 miles an hour that suddenly becomes a projectile going into oncoming traffic. Not cool. All right, continuing. Looks like one of these nests inside the other. Wow, they did just a marvelous job of packing this stuff. Kudos to Mockins for economy of packing to keep the costs way down. You got a little set of directions right here. Let me show you. That's actually pretty self-explanatory. We're going to go through all of these steps one at a time. I'm not going to be so anal retentive that I make check boxes and mark everything off with a pen or something. But then you've got contact information on the back, free lifetime warranty. Not bad for 150 bucks. I'm very pleased so far. So, let's see. We got a half platform. We got a half platform and we got a half platform. We got a couple of connector plates in there. We got a hitch tube. This one actually folds up. So somewhere in there is an apparatus that actually folds up and folds down. So it folds flat for carrying, and then it folds up when you're not carrying anything. I'm going to have a little bit of a problem because I got a tire on the back door of my Jeep and it's going to interfere. I don't need it. All right. This looks like my cargo bag. So for now, don't need to worry about it. The deer straps, yeah, I'm going to hang on to these. 200-pound carcass sitting on the back of your Jeep flopping around could potentially present some problems. So I'm going to want to strap that deer down. I'm not going to put it in a bag though. Let's set this down and see what's in the box. The knife comes out again. Again, with these little lockback knives, you got this little lever. So that initially opens it up. Super easy to use. Control the depth of your cut by putting your thumb here. Cut the tape. Cut the tape. And we're rocking. Let's see what we got. All the bolts shrink wrapped. Doesn't get any better than that, guys. In fact, I've got my own receiver pin and a new cotter pin, so I can go take the other two and actually put them back on my actual trailer hitch so they don't get lost. That's cool. Well done, guys. And then miscellaneous hardware that I'm going to open up with a knife and then set off to the side. Let's see what else we got. Spacers, some kind of plate I'll have to open up. This is the hitch tube, so it's going to slide in, get pinned in, and then this is what's actually carrying the load and rotating the whole cargo carrier like that. In fact, I think it goes like this is how it goes in the trailer hitch. It raises up a little bit because under load, couple 100 pounds. This might actually bend ever so slightly. So it's got to start off up, something like that. Getting this out of the way, getting this out of the way. In fact, now is a good time to pick up garbage. Always make sure you get rid of your silica gel, these desiccants, these dryers, because dogs like them and little grandkids look and think they might be candy. Make sure you get rid of that stuff, guys. Let's see, one last thing. Some kind of a tube here that gets unwrapped. Wow, they did just a marvelous job of wrapping this. I am super impressed with Machins. Let's get rid of the cardboard box. It's coming down to a couple of simple pieces here. We've got some zip ties that I need to take off. So I'm going to go under here, pinch, pop it off. Just lift underneath here, not a sawing motion. We're using the blade to lever its way up. There we go. Throw away your zip ties. These are candy for grandkids. Grandkids are just like that. Let's take this off. Huh. I might be able to use that for some of my RC planes. Let's do the same thing with the other half carrier. I got 2 zip ties. Throw it in the cardboard box. Zip tie. Throw it in the cardboard box. Pull the padding off. You can do all of this. You can do all of that without having to look at any instructions. But now comes the time when we have to really seriously RTFM, guys. Because now I'm not sure what to do next. I know that this gets turned around, but I don't know what happens after that. Time to take a look. Oh, let's open this up too. Wow, that is super well wrapped. Now I don't want to scratch the anodized coating on here, so you're going to see me very carefully lift underneath, do all of my cutting away from my body, cut away, try to go for an edge so you're opening it up like an envelope, cut away even from the metal so you're not scratching it. And then when you peel it open, everything acts like a little pocket to contain all of the parts. You pull only what you need out initially. Set them off to the side. Don't stack them so you can still tell what you've got. You can just at a glance see your inventory. There's another little part there. I'm going to look inside. A couple of red stickers. It looks like it's just reflectors. Feels like there's something else in here. Oh, how cool is that? They provide you with the tools to actually do the assembly. So no additional tools are required, I would think. I'll set those off to the side. Dispose of my plastic. Pick out any other little garbage, because I got neighbors that are way cleaner than me and I can't let my stuff get in their yard most of the time. And now it's time to actually look at the instructions. 1, assemble the platform. Let's double check and make sure we've got everything. Half platform times 2. Got it. Arm times 1. Connection plates times 2. Got them. We've got a hitch tube 1 over there. Got it. We've got some M10 by 70. That's a 10 millimeter diameter times 70 millimeters long. Oh no, 8 times 4. Yeah, 4 of them. We got a set of 4. It's a bolt set that are 10 millimeters in diameter and 70 millimeters long. They don't tell you what the pitch is, which means it's probably 1.25. We've got B times 1. We've got 1 set of M12, so 12 diameter bolt, shoulder bolt with 75 millimeters long. We've got a D times 1, one of these, 12 millimeter pin and clip. That's the pin in the cotter pin. Some reflectors and some carriage bolts. Looks like everything I see over there. So the first thing that we got to do is put the bar on and then put the 2 pieces on. And I want you to see, if you look really carefully here, what you see is that the carrier is upside down in the picture. So everything goes upside down. You put the bar on, you bolt the bar on, and then you're going to flip it right side up so that it looks like this. And these two plates go here and probably on the other side and have 4 bolts that hold them in. Bolts and nuts. So you've got a bolt that goes through, you got a washer and a nut on the other side. And it's always going to go from the outside in, from the outside in is how you're going to put all those on. Then another set of bolts that go from one side, doesn't matter which it looks like. Looks like you want to go in like this. So let's get set up. Not so bad. I might have to change my camera angle a little bit. We'll find out in a second. I'm starting to get it now. These two pieces are completely symmetric. Super smart move. That's called design for manufacturing. They don't have to build 2 different parts. They have to only build 1 part. And this carrier, let's see, it's kind of tilted a little bit. It's not perfectly straight. It's actually going to go in. Let's see, how is it going to go in? It's going to go in. See these 2 holes? 2 holes. These 2 holes? 2 holes. This is going to go in like that and hold everything together. Then this is going to get connected to like this with the ability to rotate, and we're rocking. All right, I'm getting it. I'm going to leave this here, and you guys are going to watch me set everything up. So this is going to hold the 2 pieces together, and the plates are going to hold the 2 pieces together. That's going to transfer the load onto this bar, and this bar can handle 500 pounds at the tongue, at the receiver. I'm going to just keep working quietly and then speed up the video so you can see all of this. One, 2, 3, 4. Let's leave it there. I don't need to take these out, so I'm not going to take them out yet. Don't introduce unnecessary risk at losing stuff. Let's say it started raining and you had to bail and go inside. Now you just got more parts that you have to forget in the driveway. You don't want that. All right. For those of you that are non-engineering types, when you're assembling fasteners like this, we've got a lock washer that goes with the nut. You kind of have your choice of where this washer goes, but it needs to spread the load out on the nut side. So the bolt is naked, goes through here, out on this side, and you put the flat washer first, followed by the lock washer, a split ring lock washer second, followed by the nut. You look on both sides to see if there's a slightly rougher surface, and you'll put that in. These are actually pretty good nuts, so we're going to leave it like this. That's number 1. Repeat for all of the others. The bolt goes in naked. You put them all in from the same side, and you're just going to make your job easier. Flat washer first. Spreads the load out, spreads the tension that turns into pressure, that turns into holding power. Put the lock washer on second, put the nut on last. It's the lock washer that keeps the nut from backing out, providing that extra little bit of tension. All 3 pieces in this hand, naked bolt in this hand. Flat washer first, split lock washer second, nut last. Notice I'm not tightening anything up yet. That's a bad idea. We're going to tighten these up a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, repeat. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, repeat. We're trying to create a uniform pressure holding everything together here once I start tightening everything up. And before I even do that, I'm probably going to put the plates on too, so that I can see if I need a little bit of wiggle room. Flat washer first, followed by the lock washer, followed by the nut. I'm trying to tighten these on finger tight so they don't go anywhere. Time to put the plates on. The plates have some writing on them. Actually, they have writing on both sides, but we got to make sure that when we put it on and the whole cargo carrier is in the upright position, that it actually reads Machens, not Snickow. You follow me? Right now it's upside down, so that's how I have to mount the plates. Upside down like this, so that when the whole cargo carrier flips over, now I have Machens reading right side up. So there's my plate. Let me go take the rest of these out. All the fasteners. There's a lot now. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. And they're all falling apart. So, we've got again a nut and a lock washer and a flat washer. The flat washer spreads the load out from the nut. This oval-headed pan screw already has a really large head, so it doesn't require a washer on that side. That's going to go from the outside in. This is going to get a little tricky now. Then on the inside now, the flat washer goes by feel, the lock washer goes, and lastly the nut goes on. And I'm literally just doing it by feel, snugging it up by hand, and we repeat. I'm going to have to learn how to do all this fast motion stuff on my video. Flat washer. This is more than just a nameplate, so take time doing this one right, guys. I seem to be missing a, here's my lock washer. Lock washer. And nut. Do. Flat washer, lock washer, and nut. And the last one on this side, bolt goes in. I called it a screw because it's a machine screw, but let's see. Flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. And now comes the tricky part. Trying to show the camera while I work on that. I think I'm going to flip the camera around so you're seeing over on this side. Otherwise, I got to try to lift the whole thing up, and that's not fun for me right now. There we go. Machens, but the whole cargo carrier is upside down, so Machens has to start off upside down. 4 bolts. Bolt number 1, flat washer, lock washer, nut. Do 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 do. Do do do. Do 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 do. This one's going to be a little tricky. Whenever you're trying to turn a nut on and it gets stuck on it starting, turn it backwards a little bit till you hear a little click. That's when you know that the threads in the nut have engaged the threads in the bolt. Then you can start turning the other direction. Otherwise you end up cross threading that nut. Then you're screwed. Don't do that. Alrighty, making progress. Pretty soon we're going to be able to start tightening stuff up. The fact that these nuts, the fact that these bolts, excuse me, actually have a little slot on them means that they're supposed to be held by a screwdriver as you tighten them. Hopefully I'll be able to avoid that. But if not, I'll just go pull the screwdriver out of my toolkit. We'll be fine. One more nut, one more pair to go. See that little slot there? You could probably get away with holding that with a quarter if you needed. That a quarter will fit inside that slot. A coin that in a pinch. These are going to be the ones that you really want to bolt down, because if you lose these on the road, you're actually compromising the structural integrity of the whole carrier. So don't screw around with this part, guys. Do not screw around with this. These have to be tight. Not so tight that you break the bolt, that you fail it, but they have to be tight enough that that bolt is under serious tension and the lock nut is under serious compression so that it doesn't want to move anywhere. All right, I got all 4 pieces here. Again, I'm going to finger tighten everything a little bit at a time. And I'm going to reposition the camera so you can see me tightening everything up. Now we go through a whole lot of repetitive, a little tweak, a little tweak, a little tweak. And slowly tighten everything up. I got to kneel down, and I got an old driveway, so got to be a little bit more careful. Let's just go tighten it up with the tools we got. You always hold the bolt steady. A lot of different sizes here. You hold the bolt side firmly. It's the nut that always moves to tighten, not the bolt. You move the nut. The nut gets moved against the bolt. Always, always, always. I'm going to move it until it's snug, and then I'll move on to the next one and actually do tightening until I see the gap between this and the gap here actually start to disappear, till it starts to get tough. Tough to turn that nut. There's snug. There's snug. I'm seeing the lock washer here completely compress. When the 2 sides are like this and it compresses down like that, that's when you know you're doing the right, you got the right amount of tension. Right amount of torque, rather, on the nut. Pretty good. Take your time. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. There. Now they're all roughly the same tension. Now I go back and add a quarter turn, quarter turn, quarter turn until they're so tight I'm convinced that's all the tighter they need to be. So 1/4 turn, 1/4 turn, and I'm feeling how hard that is to make sure that they're about the same torque. Torque is pressure times moment arm, so it's that twisting force. I'm feeling how tight that is compared to all the others. I want them to all be about the same tightness, the same torque, before I move on to the next one, the next round. There. That one's pretty tight. That one's pretty tight. Pretty tight. Pretty tight. These tools are the bare minimum. They hurt your hand. If that's supposed to be how you figure out don't go any further, maybe that's it. I'll be tightening these things, all of these bolts up after I take it and drive it a few miles. And I'll probably go back and use my real wrenches. This is just for the sake of the video. Now I've got to get a wrench on that side, and I've got to get a screwdriver. This is going to be one of those times where it's actually really unwieldy to turn the nut, and it's so small that I don't mind actually using a screwdriver and turning the bolt. Give me a second. Okay, let's see, what can I do to make my life easier? I'm gonna go like that. And I'm gonna lay this thing in my lap like this and get underneath it. Don't have to strain myself. Now I gotta find, same thing as before. Always use a screwdriver that is as wide, nearly as wide as the screw itself. Don't use a teeny one. I'm going to sit here and turn until it's snug. Snug but no further. You'll feel it tighten up fast. That's when you know you've compressed the lock washer. Yeah, I'm glad I'm using a screwdriver. Turn this a little bit. Trying to find the right wrench to use on there. Oh yeah, that's it. All right, let's get back here. There we go. Okay, that one's snug. There's no need to do a star pattern just yet, guys. That's what you do, a star pattern when you're tightening things up. I'm just trying to approach snug before the tightening sequence. So there's no going back and forth like you do on your car tire. Not just yet, but soon. These are all blind, so I'm using my finger underneath here to try to feel how far this, whether this is seated on the nut or not. I'm using these two fingers. You'd be surprised how much you can learn, how you can see with your fingers, especially if you spent your entire childhood and youth with your dad in northern Minnesota rebuilding Volkswagens all through the 70s, trying to make some extra money to make ends meet. Dad, you'd be proud of me. I remembered every lesson. Okay, that's not bad. The final little bit of tightening is not going to happen from the bolt side. It's going to happen from the nut side. And now I am going to use a star pattern. So I'll start over here and turn a quarter turn, then go crossways along the diagonal over to this side. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Then pick your either side, it doesn't matter. then back down to the other diagonal. Let's ask ourselves what these plates are doing. This bar is holding the weight. The weight is pushing this way. But when it pushes on this side and on this side, there's a tendency for these two bars, these two parts, want to try to bend around this bar. So you need something to hold the two pieces together. That's okay, the last thing we got. Okay, the last thing we got to do is put that hitch that goes into the receiver. We got to bolt that onto that end at some kind of an angle. So I got to go look that up. Let's go see. I'm at 19% battery on my camera, so I got to move quick here. It looks like the receiver ends up with there's two bolts. How's this work? Plate, plate, plate. It looks like there's a permanent pin, and then there's a cotter pin that actually comes out so that you can actually flip the whole thing up. All right, let's go get this set up. Gotta watch out lifting that stuff. Darn it. I'm gonna get yelled at by the doctor. Now it's right side up, so I've got to get this part right. It's going to go in. If we see the carrier, do you see this diagram? Do you see this diagram in the bottom? This shows the cargo carrier upright, and it shows how this is actually going to slip in to that little tube right there. And there's a big bolt B that goes in, and then there's a pin with what looks like a cotter pin. That's what gives you the ability to actually tip this thing up, tip this thing down. So let's go see if we can get this in correctly. Looks like it goes in like this. Ah, I see. So it rotates around this, and this where the cotter pin goes, that comes loose. So that part would cause it to swing down. Okay. All right, I'm gonna leave these here. Actually, don't need either of those. And it turns out this pin is for rotating it up, not for actually putting it on my receiver. I'm still going to need my receiver pin, so there's really two of these. The one that allows you to rotate this thing 90 degrees, and your regular pin that actually holds the whole assembly inside your receiver. Hey, Cindy.
Are you on the phone?
No, I'm actually making a YouTube video, but you can jump right in.
Okay, so...
Wait a minute, I'm still wrong. There's actually another pin in here. There's the pin that actually allows the whole cargo unit to rotate. And this really is the pin that gets to replace my other one, so I don't have to, I can keep the other pin with my trailer hitch instead of with this system. Cool. Cindy, you can come and get the...
Oh, so I have work at 1, and it's about 20 minutes away, so I won't have enough time.
Okay, just let me know when you will. It's here. The lawnmower's there and the gas is right there.
Just keep it out
Okay.
by like, because I end at 4, so I'm going to try and rush home and do it.
That'll work.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Okay. Unless you want to be in my video, you better skedaddle. All right, here we're going to put these pieces in. This is a part that's permanently there and allows you to rotate. You're not going to loosen this when it's time to move the cargo carrier. Once again, you've got two washers. You've got the flat washer that goes first, the split lock washer that goes second, followed by the nut. Tighten that up, and then we've got a pin. We'll put the pin in from the same side. Yeah. This pin would be a pain in the butt to pull out. I don't know how that's going to work. If I were on the side of the road and I wanted to flip this thing up and I saw how hard this thing is, it's flush up against that tongue. That's a pain. This is our only mistake so far. There. Let's see how that looks. Still filming? Yeah. Let's zoom in and take a look. So that you've got the one bolt here, you got a pin, and when you want to rotate it up, you pull the pin out, and this whole thing rotates around that bolt. And then I imagine you rotate it 90 degrees and you put the pin back in here and it holds it at a right angle. It holds it, the whole cargo carrier, vertical instead of horizontal. Pretty slick. I'll never need to do it. Let me finish tightening all this up. And then we're going to go and put it on. Got to go get that wrench. Trying to find the right size. Looks like that's it. Once again, remember, you turn the nut against the bolt, not the bolt against the nut. All of this will get tightened up too. Yeah, good enough. All right, I've got to change my camera angle now. I got to change my camera angle to set up so that you could see me actually putting this on the back of the Jeep. Let's see. This is actually going to be kind of tricky because I got to stay out of my own way too. But all I'm really trying to do, guys, is slide the whole carrier into that tongue. And once it's in, all the weight's being carried by the receiver. Sorry, the receiver. All I really got to do is slide the whole cargo carrier into that receiver, and then the receiver's carrying the weight. I just got to adjust it in order to put the pin in. So here goes. This is the one thing I'm not supposed to be doing right now. Oh well. The shit we do when deer hunting season comes. There. Now I'm going to try to lift very carefully. Look and see where those holes are. Wow. Let's back up and take a look. That thing's a full 2 feet off the ground. Wow. That's pretty cool. Let me go checking here with my little finger. It's got to go backwards a little bit. And that seems perfect. Time to put my pin in. Oh wait, this one goes on my other one. Time to put my brand new pin on. Aha, nice. I always make sure when you put a cotter pin in, let's see, let me show you guys. When you're putting a cotter pin in a pin, you don't put this part in the shaft, you put the straight part in. So it always goes in like this. That way this springs out and now it holds it in. So the straight side is what goes into a cotter pin. Who knew you were going to learn so much today? Let's put this in. We are rocking, guys. There's our cargo carrier. It's going to bounce a lot. I'm utterly convinced it's going to bounce like crazy, but we won't know until we go take it for a drive. So that comes next. But first, got to do a little bit of cleanup. And then we're going to go out in the Jeep and we're going to drive around on bumpy roads and actually see what this thing is like. One thing I was worried about, and let me change my my tripod a little bit. I was really worried that if I had a deer in here, that exhaust pipe was going to end up cooking it on the way back home. But now I can see there's actually plenty of clearance between my exhaust pipe pushing hot air out like this, and the deer's carcass is going to be sitting right there. So actually a non-issue, a non-concern. And you'll see why I can never rotate this carrier up, because I've got this interference fit with my semi-cool bike carrier and the rest of the tire. I don't care. That's fine with me. All right, let me clean up and go take it on the road. See you in a minute. Here's a tiny little bit of advice. When you got something this heavy, it weighs almost 20 pounds, and you're deciding you're going to store it in your garage, the question is, do you store it up high or do you store it down low? Store it up high because it's convenient? No. Heavy stuff always gets stored down near the ground, because you're asking yourself the question, what happens when it falls? Not if it falls, when it falls. How much damage do you want it to do? I don't want it to do much damage, so it goes down on the ground. There. Thought I'd share that with you. Let's go take that Jeep for a test ride. Some of you by now are saying, hey, wait, Mark, we saw something on that document. We saw, as I'm picking up the parts, I noticed there's this little part and there's this little part. What did I just get done saying? I got done wiggling that back and forth and saying, this thing's going to rattle. Guess what? When I look at the paperwork, when I look at the documentation and zoom in, I see very, very faintly this thing. And when you look closely, it says it's the U-bolt anti-rattle attachment. So the way that it works is you bolt it on over the neck. Let's go piece it together. Hold on. I'm going to bolt it on, I guess, right there. And it's going to hold this plate like this. Like that? Like that? No. It's going to hold it like this. And pull up until this is firmly embedded inside the receiver. And I guess that holds the whole thing together. Oh, I see. Wait. It goes right here. You see the difference? The bolt is going to go on this, hold right there, and this is going to come and hold that post and keep it from vibrating. So let's get it bolted on. I'm just going to go do that and not try to set up and show you guys. I was going to do this first because honestly, guys, I just didn't know how I was going to hold the camera here. So let's see if I can set the camera up so you guys see just how tough this is going to be. This bolt does not go on the receiver side. This U-bolt does not go on the receiver side. It doesn't even fit. It goes on the cargo carrier side, and this plate is supposed to go with the bent side going towards the cargo carrier like this, so that the idea is this provides some kind of tension on both sides and keeps the whole kit and caboodle from rattling around. This is probably the least cool. This was an afterthought. I think when they built and designed it, they had no idea it was going to rattle, and this is some kind of a sad add-on. It's really strong. I mean, that's 3/8 inch thick metal right there. It's no nonsense, but they weren't planning on this. This was a patch. They did their own shakedown cruise. They realized it rattles like crazy, and this is some little thing that they duct taped together. I just can't hold it there, but I got to put washers, nuts on both sides. Here, I got the first one on. I wanted to just show you guys that sometimes it does make sense to put a whole assembly on and tighten it up as far as you can, just so that all of the other pieces kind of hold still, so you can get the next part on. Then I'll tighten both of them up equally until I get it nice and snug. And now you see both pieces, both nuts, both washer, nut combinations tied in. But the first thing you should notice is there's more threads exposed here than on this side. So certainly this side's got to get tightened first, and then a little bit of this lip is pushing against the receiver, and this little lip here is pushing against the actual cargo carrier. So eventually, I guess that keeps everything from rattling. Again, I got to put the camera down because it's really tough to be sitting underneath here tightening. I got just no way to hold the camera. So watch for these to be tightened. All right, everything's tightened down, but I gotta be straight with you guys. That is the goofiest little apparatus. It just feels like up on the top side here, this is going to want to slip down. Eventually, this is going to rattle free. You're going to hear it hopefully really quick and be able to pull off the side of the road and do something. It's the only thing that's actually even remotely disappointing about this whole cargo carrier, with one other one, and then we're going for a test ride. I'll show you one other disappointment. All right, we're doing one quickie little check, like an inspection before we take this out, and it feels pretty good. Rocking it. Wow, I'll be darned, that worked. It is not rattling anymore. Who knew? Okay, I had to charge the phone up a little bit. I'm trying to do all kinds of videotaping, and I'm not doing enough charging. So let's go through before we go on our test ride. RTFM, did we read through everything here? We got the platform, we got the bolts, everything is accounted for, even this surprisingly effective little anti-rattle attachment. I was surprised. It's all mounted to the carrier. I got all of my garbage thrown away in here. I've got my other trailer hitch tucked away near ground level so that I can find it. I put all my tools away that came with the kit up there. No real need to keep this, but I'm not gonna chuck it yet. I'll just leave it up on top here. Did I put all my tools away? Yes, Uncle Mark. Let's give this one more shake. And then I think it is time to go for a test ride. Let's get in the Jeep. Before we go on a test ride, God, I keep delaying the test ride. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm always honest. I got to be candid. There's one thing I found out that was a disappointment. Watch what happens when I try to open my door. Bang. That's all the farther I get to open my door this season if I'm going to be carrying this carrier. Kind of a bummer. I'm a little tempted. Maybe I can actually switch that around so it goes down instead of up. Can I do that? No, I can't. Because that part of the receiver, that apparatus is actually welded onto the receiver. So there's no flipping it 180 degrees, I don't think. But I might experiment, because it would be really nice if I had that extra little bit of clearance. I certainly got plenty of clearance as far as, road clearance. This thing's 2 feet. Look, it goes up to my knee. So it's as tall as my knee is, high up. I probably don't need it that far. We'll have to experiment, but let's go see if it rattles. Okay. Starting the Jeep up. Man, it turned out to be a really warm October day out here. You're sitting on my lap, don't panic. A really nice October day. It's 77 degrees on the 10th of October, 2020. Dang. And we're listening really closely now. I'm going to cool the car off first before we go. We're going to just go listen for thumping. Let's see. I'll take these off so I can drive. Listen for the thump now. Nothing. All right, so far so good. I went up and over a little curb like you see, like one of these. That's what was in my driveway, and I just went over it and I didn't hear a thing. No big thump. But I got to kind of get up to highway speeds and then see what it sounds like. But this is very encouraging so far. I'm going over kind of a bumpy area of our road. It's not washboard by any means. Well, let's go see the daughter. I'm going to hit a couple of bumps coming up. Just regular. I'm not hearing a thing. All right. I'm convinced this is going to work. And the only thing I got to try to work out is how to get clearance. I could take my tire, my bike carrier off. I've never been impressed with it anyways. It seemed like a good bike carrier, but in fact it's rather mediocre. It's hard to get even 2 bikes on there. You can get one on effortlessly, but after that it's a pain in the ass. It's probably why somebody sold it to me so cheap. I take the bike carrier off, that leaves me with a tire. Then the tire still has some interference, but at least I could get out another couple inches, and I can either say that's enough, that I can open up the rear glass then, and if I can get at the bow and get out all my equipment instead of going through the rear door, or I could just go through the rear door. Big deal. The way I hunt anyways, I'm already flopping the seats down, so everything's really easy to get at without going to the rear. So I'm probably not going to kill myself. I'm going to say that the height of the cargo carrier is more important to me than actually lowering in order to get door clearance for now. But we'll see how things go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll tinker around as I learn more about this particular Mockins, M-O-C-K-I-N-S, about 160 bucks on Amazon, delivered, free shipping. I'm impressed so far. I'm glad I bought it. I didn't have to buy another one. I can't wait to go and use it. If I learn more, I'll throw up another little supplement video, and that's it. Mark Vogt with VOGTLAND Outdoors. We'll see you out there. Bye.